Hey, and thank you for clicking play. And once again, we are going to be looking at Shoot 'em Up Construction Kit. And the question I'm answering this week is, but can it do parallax? Spoiler alert, no. So if that's all you want, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. I think there's clever ways you can use sprites to give a parallax effect, or at least add multiple layers of, what do you call it? Scrolling, animation, whatever. So what I've done is I've loaded one of the games that comes with the package. Let's have a quick look at what that looks like. It looks like this. Okay, and this is the kind of game that the program builds. Okay, it's not bad at all. This is actually quite a good game, and it's good to look at things like this because then you get to look at some tips like, you know, putting the shadowing. This is all on the background tiles. I'm pointing at the screen. You can't see that, but the shadows on the background tiles, have a look at that. So you just thinking about how you design your background tiles to give that feeling of depth. Okay, but you can't do multiple layers of scrolling in the package as it comes. But what you can do is mess about with sprites. So what I've done is I have once again done my favourite thing, because I'm crap at pixel art. I've drawn a cloud. Okay, and ignore the fact that the cloud is side on and this is a top-down shooter. That aside, this could be a cloud, this could be any other graphic element. It's a sprite, it's not a background tile, and that's going to be important. So what I've done is I've applied that to a object, which is enemy 34. So ignore this. I've basically, this demo game used every single sprite allocation. There's only so many blocks, only so many sprites you can create. So what I've done is I've hijacked what is player 2, the sprite. And one, because they have, these ships have 2 sprites each, so I've hijacked one of player 2's sprites because we're not using player 2, so it doesn't matter. And that's where I've drawn my cloud. Enemy 34 is going to be the cloud. So we need to set up the attributes for enemy 34. So let's go, where's our object? So object enemy 3. Well, it's object 34, isn't it? No, it's enemy 34. It allows you to do a lot of enemies, doesn't it? Far out. Objects include bullets, they include deaths, they include enemy deaths. Enemy 34. Here's our cloud. Right. So I'm going to give this a speed of 1. It doesn't have any points to kill. Oh. So I'm going to give it 0 points to kill. I can't do hits to kill, but that isn't going to matter, and here's why. Over here on the right, we are going to leave enemy die. So when the enemy hits the ship, the enemy won't die and the ship won't die. Leave that as default. When the enemy under enemy to bullet rules, so if a bullet hits the enemy, if a bullet hits this cloud, the cloud won't die and the bullet won't die. Just a nice thing I've just thought about. You could have some clouds that look very slightly different, and maybe they have hidden extra points in them or something like that. You could do that. But I want to mess about with what we can do with this. So let's go into our game and we are going to edit attack waves. All right. And we're going to insert enemy. And we're going to also play about with the function join enemy in this one, I think, as well. So insert enemy. We've got enemy 34, and we're going to place it. Now I'm going to use my joypad to scroll up the level, because I don't want this right at the start. We certainly don't want it in space, though. So maybe about here. I think here's a nice place for some clouds. So I'm going to hit fire. I'm going to hit fire again. We can see we've got some enemy placements here. I'm pointing at the screen again. You can't see that. And here's my cloud. It's a bit smaller than I thought. But that's the size of a sprite, right? Look, they're not sprites. But that's the size of a sprite. It matches these enemy sprites. Okay. So I'm going to place my cloud. And the most important thing I'm going to do here, this is the most important bit. So I'm hitting fire. And then I'm going to add the cloud's movement, and I'm just going to move it down the screen. Are you getting the picture? So I've used a cloud because it's simple to draw and it's simple to understand why I might do this. But this could be anything. I could even have put some holes in that cloud, by the way. We might mess about with that sprite. And I'm just going to move it off. All right, I'm going to keep it moving a little bit. Okay, and that is that. So let's store that. Right mouse followed by left stick, and that is stored. I actually just want to quickly add just a couple of holes in that. I think that will give it a nice effect and sort of... So whatever the top marker here is, that's basically transparent. I think that will give it a nice effect because clouds are not solid, right? That might be quite nice. Okay, it's not going to be great, is it? Whatever. So let's exit that. Now what I'm going to do is let's go back into edit attack waves and we're going to go join enemies. This is quite a powerful tool. Still on enemy 34, we are going to place. Select rough position. Are we still in the same place? I think we are. So I'm going to hit fire. Right, ready to join up enemy. Choose find position. Yes, so that's the find position. Join enemy to which or other enemy. So I'm going to join it to that first cloud. And now I'm going to offset it. So what it basically means is I don't have to redo that movement. It's going to move these enemies in the same way. There we go. Let's place another one. And... oh, bollocks. I messed that up. Read the screen, Chris. Right. Choose find position. There we go. In my defense, I don't think I've done anything wrong there. It was... there we go. Right, and I'll put this one here. And we'll do one more. Actually, I think we want a few more. What I could have done was do... I've got room to do a couple of clouds per sprite. That would be another way. And I'm just going to join it to... I can join it to any of them, right? I can... generally, I'd go off the first one, but that's fine. And we'll place that. And we're going to place a couple more. Okay, and I'm just going to move this one. I want a bit more depth to this field of clouds. I hope that's okay. Maybe that can be masking that for a little bit. And one more. I mean, you get the idea. You can mess about with this. Now, here's a bit of a problem with my plan. And I did see this coming, so you have to be a bit smart with how you place them, clearly. Maybe somebody else has a bit more knowledge about how the sprites are layered, because the problem I've got there is now there's something that looks like it's on the ground and it is obscuring the cloud, so that breaks the illusion. I could delete that cloud, and so what you'd have to do, I think, is just make sure things aren't in the way of other things, you know, just separate the paths. Maybe you would just use this in an area where there's not much going on so that you can trick it, but at least it's a way of giving a bit of a nicer graphic element. So let's have a look at what this looks like. So test game. And off we go. That shadow, by the way, is just a sprite that's animated to go off the screen. It's using the same effect I'm using, which is a sprite that does nothing, an enemy that does nothing. Oh, here's our clouds. Look at them, and they're animated over the top. Oh, they're under the other things, though. They're under the other sprites. I don't know how the layering of the sprites works. It may be the number of the objects is on top of previous numbers, so you could work smart with that. Keeping in mind the object I'm working with is actually... oh no, that was the sprite. So it's the last sprite. So I don't know. I don't know how the layering works. Let's just go back again and have another quick look at how that section looks. And there we go. Clouds are floating above the scenery. Ignore the fact that they're being obliterated by ground items. That's not my fault. Or with about 20 sprites, you can actually have a couple of banks of cloud. That obviously makes it chug a little bit, but you know, you can see that's doable. Or if you don't like clouds, how about we replace them with, again, poorly drawn girders. There you go. Some pretend parallax scrolling, and all I've done is redone the sprites as girders instead of clouds. But now that they're girders, we could also do this. We could do edit objects, edit enemy bits, and guess what? If you're enemy to ship, so if you hit the girder, I need to do this because these are two separate objects, even though they now look the same. Let's do it on the first one first. If you hit it with your ship, you die. The girder doesn't die. If you hit it with your bullet, the bullet does die, and the enemy dies. And let's make it a bit of a bugger. 5 hits to kill, okay? So let's do that on the next one as well. Enemy die, no. Ship die, yes. Yes, yes. Now, we've used sprites to create a fake parallax scrolling, but now we've actually turned them back into an enemy. Let's see how that works. Oh, you could make them tougher. But there you go. You've got to kind of make your way a path. Otherwise, if you hit the girder, you're going to die. There you go. Now, lastly, I wanted to try something else. So let's go. We might be able to see it here, actually. I'm going to go insert enemy. And what I've done is I've actually created, if I come down here, so this part of the level, this part of the game has a star field. So I've used 2 sprites to create additional stars, keeping in mind in the background there, they're going to be a background tile. They can only scroll at 1 speed. So what I've also added is, they're the enemy sprites, don't worry about those. As we scroll up, you should see some other stars scrolling kind of in parallax. So I've used the sprite thing there to create that effect. Let's see how that plays in the game. And now, so we've got 2 levels of scrolling. We've got the background scroll, and then we've got the enemy object scroll for those fake stars. But I've got 2 separate sprites. So what I'm going to try now is, let's actually go to one of those. So you've got 2 different ones here, as you can see. They're just a flipped representation of each other. I'm going to go to number 56, object 56 here, and I'm actually going to increase its speed by 1. So we've got 3 speeds of animation: the background, the first layer of stars, and the second layer of stars. So you got 3 levels of star scrolling. In theory, I'm literally just trying this on the fly. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to look at it in the editor. And yeah, sure enough, some of those stars are overtaking others. So you could have 3 layers, however many sprites you wanted to create. You could have that layer of scrolling. There we go. That's all I'm going to cover today. This program is very limited, but it's fun what you can do if you just think outside the box a little bit.